What's up, guys? This is Chris here from East Coast PC, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how cheap NAND flash prices have gotten over the last few months, and why, even though you may not be building a PC right now, you may be waiting to build a new computer tool after the new year with some extra Christmas cash, or you need to just upgrade your current storage in your current PC, or maybe you want to add a few more years of life into that aging laptop with a hard disk drive in there. No matter what the case is, I feel like right now is one of the best times that we have ever seen to buy SSDs and NAND flash in general. So we're going to be talking about that today, and we're also going to be talking about why that is. Micron specifically has decided to cut their NAND flash production by 20%. We're going to go over the outcome that's going to have on the market and how that will eventually make prices go back up. And we're going to be going over, I've selected 4 or 5 SSDs that we're going to talk about today that seem to be the absolute best value, no matter which category you're in, whether you want one of the best SSDs you can get at a great price, or whether you need a SATA SSD for your aging laptop, and everything in between. So we're going to be going over that today. Before we get started, guys, if there's anybody who has not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment, do all that good YouTube stuff. We appreciate each and every one of y'all so much. So with that out of the way, let's get started. All right, guys. So first, we're going to talk about this article that came out from blocksandfiles.com, and this news came out from a bunch of different websites as well. It kind of blew up the internet. You know, it's pretty big news when a company this large cuts their NAND production by so much. But anyway, we're going to put a link to this article in the description to our video. We're just going to read a little bit of it here to get the point across, and then we're going to go over some of the best SSDs that you can buy right now while prices are cheaper than they've ever been. So here we go, guys. Micron abruptly cuts DRAM and NAND production. The sales outlook for Micron has worsened, so it's cutting DRAM and NAND wafer starts by 20% compared to its prior quarter. In Micron's fourth quarter of fiscal 2022, ended 30th of September, revenues dropped 19.7% year on year due to weakening consumer demand and significant customer inventory adjustments across all its DRAM and NAND end markets. The situation has deteriorated further. So that basically, sums things up, guys. The demand just is not there like it was during the pandemic, when everybody was upgrading their PCs and building gaming computers because they were staying home. They were building new computers and buying new computers because a lot of people were working from home. On top of that, the mining industry was just buying up so many computer products, graphics cards, power supplies, and you guessed it, all those systems also need some NAND flash and DRAM in them as well. So yeah, that basically sums things up, guys. And somewhere in the next 3 months, I would say, it usually takes about 3 months to really affect the market from the time that a company like this cuts production of said product. But we will, I'm assuming, see these products go back up. I cannot see the prices staying this low forever. I do think the prices will ease back up as they're cutting demand to try to get the prices to ease back up, and I'm sure they will in due time. But either way, guys, right now the SSDs are so cheap, and that's why I wanted to put this video together to show you guys some great options to buy for your next build, for upgrade your laptop, or whatever you may need these SSDs for. All right, guys, so the first option here we got is our Samsung 980 Pro 1TB SSD. Now, Samsung did just release the 990 Pro, the PCI Express 4.0 SSD, and that is basically the best SD on the market in my opinion, and it's basically, specification-wise, basically nothing beats it. They have come as close to maxing out the theoretical bandwidth of PCI Express 4.0 by 4 lanes than any other SSD to come before it. So if you want the absolute best, spend $70 more and get that. For everybody else, this is the drive that I'm recommending. I have 2 of these. I have a 1TB 980 Pro that's in my main computer that we're recording on now, that the OS is on, the C drive, and I also have a 2TB for other storage, such as all of my videos, recording, screen captures, games, all that good stuff. So I have had nothing but great results with this drive right here. Like I said, there is other drives that are faster on the market. It does have basically up there with the best as far as sequential reads goes, but now they are right many other drives. This tops out at about 5,000 or 5,100 megabytes a second write speed, sequential write, and there is a lot of other SSDs out there that do it closer to 7,000, like this one does on the read speeds. With that being said, guys, $99 for this 1 terabyte drive. This is still cutting edge performance. Like I said, there's a few drives faster, but for most people are never going to know the difference. And what I love about these Samsung 980 Pro drives compared to a lot of the other drives is the random read and write performance is so good. These drives top out at 1 million IOPS per second. And that is just, quite frankly, amazing. Especially at this price. Many other drives don't even get close to that, even though they have great sequential read and write speeds. The random read and write speeds of the drive are nowhere near that fast. And that really affects more of your overall performance in day-to-day use, because most people aren't copying 50 gig files all day long. There are some people that are doing that, but and it's great to have the performance when you need it, but random performance matters so much, and I don't feel like that it gets talked about enough. But anyway, guys, $99 for this drive. It is an absolute excellent value. Now, if we click on the 2 terabyte version right here, this is coming from a third-party retailer. I would not buy that for that price. This bottomed out at $179 for the 2 terabyte version over Black Friday. And basically, if I'm not mistaken, it sold out completely from Amazon.com, other than third-party retailers. And the same thing happened on Newegg. So anyway, if you are looking for the 2 terabyte option, I would wait for it to come back in stock. I think it's going to, still be a very good value, cheaper than what we just saw on that page. But if you're looking for the 1 terabyte option, I think this is a 100% go. Samsung 980 Pro SSD, 1 terabyte for $99.99. You absolutely can't go wrong if you're looking for, excellent cutting edge performance at an excellent price. So now, guys, we're going to move on to another insane deal. And this next drive we're going to talk about right here is the Silicon Power 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. It is the SU00 1 terabyte P34A80 M228AB. Now, I just read that just because that is the model number of this SSD, but I know there's a lot to keep up with. But anyway, guys, this right here is $59.99. It is a PCI Express 3.0 SSD, and it is very, very high performance. It also has a DRAM cache. This is not just a cheap drive without a DRAM cache, such as a QLC drive with no DRAM cache. No. This is a real high quality PCI Express 3.0 SSD. The read and write, the sequential read and write speeds, as we see right here, 3,400 for the read, 3,000 for the write, and for $59.99. That is just insane for me to think about. I've been buying SSDs for the last 7 years to go in computers, and when I first started buying SSDs readily to put in my computers and my customers' computers, I was paying about $100 for 250 gigs of SSD storage. And now we are getting 1 terabyte NVMe SSDs for $59.99. It's just literally ludicrous to think about. But anyway, guys, this is another great option. If you don't care about all that cutting edge performance, this is also a great drive for an OS drive. A lot of times I say to cheaper SSDs that we're about to talk about in a few minutes, they're good, but I don't always recommend them for, the OS drive. When you're installing Windows on it, you really want something, in my opinion, with a DRAM cache. It's definitely a good luxury, even though you don't have to have it. Well, right here, you're not giving up anything. $59.99 for a 1 terabyte drive that's still super fast, and it has a DRAM cache. Now, one thing I do want to say, I have not personally had this drive. I've not used it. I have used a lot of Silicon Power products in the past, and I've never really had any problems with them. But I do want to say I have not used this specific drive, but I would definitely buy it if I needed a drive to use for that price. I may even buy one just because they're so cheap, just to have a spare, which I do that more than most people because I work on computers. But anyway, guys, that's another great option. That's $40 cheaper if you don't care about some of the best performance. So now that that's out of the way, guys, let's talk about a great SATA drive in case you don't have any more M.2 slots, or maybe you don't have a M.2 slot, period. Maybe you have an older computer, or you're trying to upgrade an aging laptop and put your OS on that. So let's talk about what the best option there is. All right, so what we have here is the Crucial MX500 1 terabyte SATA SSD. And this is one of the best SATA SSDs on the market. I have been using this SSD for a long time in my previous builds. I actually have one in my current build. I have one that I just took out of one of my older builds that I just sold. And I also just used it just a few days ago in a a gaming computer I built for my little cousin. That was a massive upgrade for him, but because that motherboard did not have an M.2 drive, I wanted to use a really good SATA SSD to install his operating system on, and one that would be plenty enough to fit a lot of games up there for him. So this is what I went with, the Crucial MX500, because it has a DRAM cache and it's just an all-around excellent drive. And if you want to put your operating system on a SATA SSD and you still want to get really good performance, then I totally recommend something like this that has a DRAM cache. Now, yes, you can get away with using a cheaper SSD in it, and the computer will run fine. But when it comes to writing larger files, and there's just so many other random performances that a DRAM cache can also help with on an SSD. And when you're installing your operating system on it, like I said, that can be a very big help. Now, this drive is regularly priced $99.99. You can usually get it a little cheaper than that. But over Black Friday, I bought it for $67.99. Now, these prices on Amazon flip-flop a lot. And just to give you a little bit of context, the Samsung 980 Pro that we got done talking about a while ago, it was $109.99. So it went down $10 from yesterday, and this drive actually went up $7. So, that's going to happen from day to day. I can't never guarantee what these prices will be in a week, but $75 for an excellent OS drive, excellent OS SATA drive for whatever you need it for is at $75. This is still a very good price for this drive, and I can recommend it over and over and over again because I have not had a single problem with all the ones I've ever used. Crucial generally makes great products, and it's just a great drive if you need to use SATA SSD for your OS system. Now, here's what else we're going to talk about, guys. If you're on a budget and you say you just need to add 1 terabyte of storage to your gaming PC and you don't have an M.2 drive or M.2 slot, excuse me, this Team Group AX2 1 terabyte SSD is $47.99, and that is just so cheap. Like I said earlier, it's hard to put in context. When I started using SSDs on an everyday basis 7 years ago, that I would ever be buying a 1 terabyte SATA SSD, even a SATA SSD for $47.99. But that's what it is, guys. And I think I've used this drive one time in a customer's PC. It's not something that I usually buy. A lot of times if I'll see a drive on a real good deal on Newegg, I'll buy it. But I have used similar Team Group drives. I've never had many problems with them. I've used a lot of stuff from their Vulcan line, which is like their gaming branded line of SSDs and RAM and all that good stuff. And anyway, yeah, $47.99. Now, this is a cheap drive. It does not have a DRAM cache, any of that. It's just a basic SATA SSD. Still has read speeds up to 540 megabytes a second. Excuse me, guys. And yeah, it's still a great all-around drive. It's nothing cutting edge. I really don't recommend using it as an OS drive if you don't have to. But if you're on a budget and this is all you can afford, it'll work just fine for that too. So that just about takes care of the SATA department. But I did want to show you guys one more thing here. Now, I have talked very highly about the Crucial MX500 and still do. This drive here does perform a little bit better. It is the Samsung 870 EVO. It's the Samsung's latest and probably last SATA SSD. I really doubt they're going to go to a 880 series for the SATA line. A lot of people were kind of surprised that they, made it because these are high-end drives. So me and a lot of other people were kind of surprised that they released updated products for their SATA line of SSDs, but they did, and nevertheless, it's $10 more. And yesterday it would have been $17 more, and that really makes it hard to recommend. But if you want the best absolute performance you can get with a SATA SSD, this is actually the one. I usually recommend the Crucial MX500 because most of the time it's cheaper. But when these are close to the same price, this one does perform significantly better in random reads and writes. They did they are just pushing the SATA interface, the SATA 3 interface, to its absolute limits. I'm very surprised they were even able to get more performance gains over the 860 Evo lines, but they did it. And this is also a great drive if you can afford it for $84.99 and you don't have an M.2 slot on whatever platform you're using. One other drive I will mention right quick before we start to wrap up this video. This is a Silicon Power 1TB NVMe M.2 SSD, and I originally had that planned for my cheaper M.2 SSD, but because the one that we talked about earlier is so much faster and it's only $9 more, or $8 or $9 more, it's very hard to recommend the cheaper drive. It is significantly less performance than this drive. It does not have a DRAM cache. So if you're not on an extreme budget, just stay away from this drive right here and, spend $8 more and get the other drive. It's for that price, $59.99. It's very hard to believe that them drives with DRAM caches are that cheap, but they are great drives. And if something happens and you do not have the extra $8, if you're really pinching pennies and you're on a serious budget, then hey, this drive will work just fine for $52. We'll go over some quick specifications: 2200 megabytes a second read speeds and 1600 megabytes a second write speeds. So you're looking at about 3 to 4 times faster than the SATA SSD on sequential read and write speeds. The random read and write speeds are probably not going to be that much better. I'm pretty sure they don't have the specifications for this drive listed on Amazon. So many manufacturers don't. You really have to dig for that information, and sometimes you still can't get it until somebody benchmarks the drives. But that's going to just about wrap this video up, guys. Hopefully this video helped a lot of people out and put some good SSD options out there for you guys at great prices. Like I said before, if there's anyone who wants to see a 2 terabyte version of this video or a version of this video based on DDR4 and DDR5 RAM, which is also at some of the lowest prices that we've ever seen, please drop a comment down below and let us know what you want to see. Thank each and every one of y'all who are still watching this video for y'all's support. If there's anyone who is not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment, do all that good YouTube stuff. We thank each and every one of y'all again, and we will see you guys soon.